Hey there, you're through to Top Cut's virtual receptionist. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I'm looking to book a haircut today if that's possible, please. I know it's quite last minute, sorry.
No problem at all. Let's see if we can sort out a haircut for you today. First, what time were you hoping to come in?
Well, 4 p.m. would be great if that's possible.
Let me check if we have a spot available for a haircut at 4 p.m. today. One moment, please. Unfortunately, 4 p.m. isn't available, but we do have a slot open at 5 p.m. today. Would that work for you?
Yeah, go on then. I think 5 p.m. would be fine.
Great. Can I grab your name for the booking, please?
Just put down Tom.
And what's the best phone number for the booking, Tom?
Put down 0712345667.
Perfect. You're all booked in for a haircut at 5 p.m. today. See you then.
Amazing.
If you
Thank you
need,
very. Oh, sorry, buddy.
no worries at all. Happy to help. See you later, Tom.
Cheers. Thank you. I built this AI voice agent to help barbershops recover calls they were missing during busy times or out of hours. Now, this voice agent helps barbers clean up money that's just left on the table and books people in for appointments when they are unable to answer the phone. This solution isn't just for barbershops, it can be for anyone in the healthcare industry, but I built this solution specifically for a barbershop. And today I'm going to be running through exactly how I built it. If barbershops can implement this voice AI agent as their receptionist, they can clean up hundreds of pounds a week and thousands of pounds a year, leaving money on the table that would just be wasted. But enough of the talking, so we're going to jump straight into the build now and see how we actually build this voice agent. So we're going to need two main platforms here, and they're going to be VAPI and NAN. VAPI is going to be what handles our talking to the customer over the phone, but it's going to send all the instructions that we want to actually book appointments in for or check availability over in our NAN agent. Okay, so we're going to start with building our voice agent over in VAPI first. So you want to click on Create Assistant here, name it whatever you want to. I've called it Top Cuts, just some made up barbershop name for a barbershop in London. And I'm going ahead and hit Create Assistant. You can use templates over here, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to just hit Create Assistant. Then once you've done that, you're going to open up into VAPI's development page, and there's a few steps we need to do. So for the most part, you can actually leave most of this on default. So the model you can leave, this is up to whatever you want to choose. Generally, you want to try and pick something that's a good combination between fast and has good reasoning. I've just left it as the default GPT-4o cluster model. You can decide if you want the users to speak first or they want the assistant to speak first. I'd probably recommend the assistant. And then you want to put in your first message here. You can put whatever you want this to be. I've just put it something as really simple. Hey there, you're through to Top Cuts, virtual receptionist. How can I help you? I'd say if you're going to implement this for barbershops or for any healthcare places, it's good to probably put in there is a virtual receptionist and makes the user feel a little bit more comfortable and that they are talking to an AI. But this is completely up to you. Then the next part, we actually want to get into the system prompt here. So I'm going to open this up. And as you can see, it's quite a lengthy prompt to be able to handle different edge cases and different things the user may ask. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of how we actually write this prompt exactly. You can use ChatGPT to help you. It's always really useful. But essentially, it tells the voice agent what role it has, the different tools it has available to it, and all these different things. If you want this prompt, I'm going to put a Google form in the description. Go ahead and fill that out, and I'll give you the prompt and templates available in this video. Now, once you've gone ahead and added your prompt into VAPI, we now want to add a knowledge base to the agent so it can reference things like prices or opening times or different types of barbers, different things like that. Now, there's a few different ways you can actually add knowledge bases into VAPI. One being you can hit the select files here and select the file you want to add as knowledge base. But I personally wouldn't recommend that. What I'd actually recommend is we want to add a tool in this tool section here. So as you can see, in my tool section, I've actually got 3 different tools, and we'll come on to these in more detail in a second, but I've got my knowledge tool here, which basically allows the voice agent to go into this document and look for things that are relevant when it needs to, like prices or opening times. Now, after we've added the tools in, I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. There's actually not much else you want to adjust in the VAPI settings. I mean, these are all pretty much personal preference, if you want to end the call early or things like that. But these are the main things that we need, and I'm going to show you how to build these tools right now. So you want to head on over to your drop-down menu here and hit Tools. And you can see that I've actually already got a few tools that I've made already for this tutorial, but also different clients' cases. So for this voice agent, we actually want to make 3 different tools. We want to make a tool that can check availability in our Google Calendar. We want to make a tool that can create bookings in our Google Calendar. And we want knowledge tool, like I mentioned before. Now, there's actually a few different ways you can add these different types of functionalities, and I'm showing you the tool way because it's the most kind of diverse way for different use cases. But you can also go into your integrations tab here, and you can see there's different integrations you can make. One of them being into your Google Calendar. So for our tools where we want to check availability or create a booking, we could actually just connect our Google Calendar directly through VAPI here. But as you can see, there's a limited amount of things that we can connect in the integrations tab. So I'm showing you a more robust way we can actually connect tools in different types of applications. Okay, back over to the tools tab, we're going to create our first tool, which is going to be the knowledge tool. So you want to hit create tool here, and then you want to hit the query one. And you can name this what you want. Name it something along the lines of the knowledge tool. Describe it however you need to. And then you can literally here just click add knowledge base and describe again to the LLM what the knowledge base is. And then you can select the file here, same as you would do in the other option that I showed you earlier. And it's really as simple as that for your knowledge tool. Then you want to hit the save button and you've got your knowledge tool available. Make sure you reference it correctly by name in your prompt. Now we've got our knowledge tool set up, we want to create our check availability and the create booking tool. So we're going to again hit on create a tool and we're going to hit on the custom tool button. And you want to name this check availability, something along those lines. And you want to again describe this to the function. Okay, once you've put in your description and you've named the tool, you want to go down to the parameters here and you'll hit add property. And these are where we're going to add the different properties that we're going to send off in our webhook call. So the first one we want to add is the duration. This is going to be how long the appointment is going to be for. So for a haircut, for this barbershop, it is 45 minutes. For a haircut and beard, it's an hour. And for a shape up, it is 30 minutes, I believe. So there's different types of durations for different appointments, which is obviously going to be key when booking these into our Google Calendar. So we want to name this duration. Again, describe this to the function. And then we're going to tick this as required. And then we're going to hit apply. Now we're going to do the same thing for the next one, which is going to be called timestamp. Again, describe this and tick required. And the final one we're going to want to add is not actually completely necessary, but helps your agent perform a little better. So we're going to call it tool. And then we're going to describe this as the tool that's going to be called in our NAN workflow to make sure that that agent calls the correct tool. So if you remember on our NAN workflow, we actually had a check availability and a create booking tool. And this parameter here is going to help us call the correct tool from our voice agent that sends over that information to our NAN agent. So I want to put in a description for this and then again hit required and apply. Now we've got all our parameters now for our checking availability tool. So now we want to actually connect this to our webhook in NAN. Jumping over to our workflow in NAN, we're going to start from the beginning. So this is our webhook here. So you want to go ahead and hit add a webhook to start your flow off. And once you've added that, you're going to get this module here. So there's a test and a production URL. Eventually, you're going to want to copy the production URL so you can actually use this without having to click execute workflow every time. But for now, we can just stick with a test one. Copy to the clipboard. Make sure this is on post. This is a HTTP post request we're going to make. So we're going to be sending information from our voice agent to NAN. That's what it means by post. You can leave the path as it is, the authentication as it is. And you want to make sure with this respond part, we want to change this to using respond to webhook no. This is really key. This means that once the voice agent sends information to NAN, NAN is going to do all the things it needs to do, and then it's going to send information back to our voice agent. So this is really key. Once you've copied this to your clipboard, like I just did a second ago, you want to head over back to VAPI and copy this URL into the box that I showed you. So I want to copy the URL over into here. So I'm going to hit Control V. And you can adjust the timeout here if you want. So this basically means that if the voice agent on VAPI side hasn't received the callback using this tool within 20 seconds, in this case, it's going to note down as a failure and it will let the user know. So you can adjust this to be however long you want to be. Then for the rest of this, we can just leave it as it is. So this is your webhook. We put that all in. We've got all our parameters. So this first tool, which is checking the availability, is good to go. So just hit save on there, and then we can get onto our next tool, which is creating the booking. So again, the same thing for creating a booking. We're going to go hit to create tool, and we're going to create a custom tool here. And we're going to name this create booking. Make sure, again, you reference this correctly in your prompt. And we're going to name this, or describe this, sorry, as the tool to create a booking in the Google Calendar. And once you've filled that stuff out, again, we're going to add a few different properties here. The first one we want to add is the time. So this is the time that the client wants to book an appointment for, or has been advised that this is another available time. Again, you can describe this as appropriate. Going to hit required there. Then we're going to add our next one, which is going to be the client name. Again, described as just pretty simple description here. It's the client name. We're going to hit required again, apply. And then we're going to go to add another one, which is going to be the service, which is the type of service that the customer wants. So if that's a haircut and beard, a shape up, whatever the case may be. Again, put in whatever description you want. Hit required and then apply. And the final one is going to be tool again. So like I said, this isn't actually a necessary part to put in. Your agent will probably still work without it, but it just helps to make it a little bit more robust and reliable. So we're going to put that tool, and we're going to describe it as the tool that the agent should use to reference in our NAN workflow. So again, hit required and hit apply. And now for the server URL, we want to put the same webhook link that we copied into the other tool. So copy and paste that in here. So as you can see, this is the test one that I mentioned. Eventually, we're going to want to switch this over to production when we actually want this to work autonomously, and we don't have to click execute workflow every time at NAN. But for now, the test one is fine. Now we've got all our tools created now. Just hit the save button and make sure to reference these correctly in your prompt, wherever you name these here. Now, once you've created those tools, you want to go back over to your assistant in VAPI, and you want to hit the tools section here and make sure to add the correct tools you've just created. This is going to allow your assistants to reference those tools and use them when it needs to. That's pretty much the VAPI agent all done. So like I said, if you want the prompts that I've used in this VAPI agent, which you can just copy across and paste into your workflow, hit the like and subscribe button and fill out the Google form that I've copied in the description, and I'll send that over to you. Now going back over into NAN, we can go ahead and finish this workflow here. So this is the agent that's actually going to do all the hard work for us. It's going to check the availability, see what is available, and offer alternative times if it needs to. And it can also create bookings here as well. So after your webhook node, you want to go ahead and add in an AI agent here. So if you don't know how to do that, it's really simple. Just go ahead and click add AI, and then you can just hit add AI agent here, and it's going to add one in for you. So it's going to look like this. Obviously, I'm going to disconnect this from our workflow, but this is what it looks to add in an AI agent. Now in your AI agent, you want to make sure this source for prompt is clicked as defined below. We're not connected to a chat trigger node, and we're not connected to any guardrails node. So we want to make sure we define this below. It's how our agent is going to act. Now, once you've changed that to define below, we want to put in our first prompt, which is the user message. So this is kind of what's going to be changing on each message and each webhook call that we receive from VAPI. We actually have two prompts. So this is our first one, the user message, and we have our system message, which is kind of the overall structure of how we want our agent to act pretty much every time. So you just want to put this in, request data, and then you actually want to copy it like this, because this is going to stringify the data that comes over from VAPI in our webhook call. You'll be able to drop this JSON.body here by just dragging and drop it over. But if you haven't run that yet, this won't be available to drop. So you can just copy this sentence to write it in. I can leave these boxes unticked. We don't require a specific format, or we do, but we don't need to have multiple different outputs. So we can leave that as it is. And we're going to go into our system message here, which is, again, quite complex. And if you want this, go ahead and fill out the Google form, hit like and subscribe, and I'll send this over to you. This essentially tells our agent in the back end how to check things, how to create bookings and whatnot. But a really important part here that we do need to touch on is the response format, and that it must return the answer as one sentence with no new lines. And this is really important because VAPI actually has this funny thing where it requires a specific format when it's making webhook calls. But going over into the VAPI documentation, you can actually see here This is the format that we need to be in when it's sending any information back to VAPI. And it's really important it is in this format, because if it's not, it's going to come back with an incorrect response and it's not going to get the data back and send to VAPI. So this is really important. And if we go back over into the N8N workflow, you can see the output here. This is from obviously a run before. This is purely in text format. It's not in JSON. If we go to our respond webhook node here, you can see that I'll come on to the detail of how we build this, but this is the structure that you can see in that VAPI documentation. Okay, great. Now we've got our AI agent set in. We want to add a brain for it. So you want to go ahead and add a chat model in here. You can put whatever you want. I put a Gemini model in because it's, again, a good balance between speed and reasoning. You want to go ahead and add this in, connect your API, your Google account, and select whatever model you want. So I've just left it as the 2.5 Flash model for now. Then the next part is we want to add simple memory in here. This is actually quite easy to do. So if we just hit memory in here, it's the first one here, just simple memory. Click on that. And then we want to change this to be defined below. And we want the context window to be, you can choose what you want, but this is going to be how many interactions it remembers. So I just put it as 50 for the last one, so just in case it's a really long conversation, but probably 15 will do. And then in the key section here, we want to paste this, which is actually going to be kind of the ID from the voice agent for a specific conversation. So remember, not just random conversations it's had with any people that day, but that specific person. So we want to go ahead and copy this over. And that is pretty much your memory part done. So I'm just going to delete this now because obviously I've already got one. That's these two parts done. Then the next part is we're going to add our first tool here, which is the think tool. Again, this isn't necessary completely to your agent in N8N, but it helps your agent to reason and call the correct tool when it needs to. So just add this in. It's really simple. Just click add here, search, think, and then hit the think tool. And that's pretty much all you need to do. And now we want to add in our two main tools, which is the check availability and the create booking tool. So make sure these are named the same as you did in your VAPI agent, as it's going to be easy to like cross-reference, and you might get them mixed up if you don't. So just make sure you name the same things. So to add a Google Calendar node, it's really simple. We just search Google Calendar in here, and you're going to hit the Google Calendar tool. And then we've got a few different sections to fill out. So I'm going to go to the node, which is the check availability tool. And we want to fill them out as we've got here. So connect your Google account, tool description, leave that as set automatically. Resource, we want to make sure this is calendar, not event. And then the operation is availability here. So there's different, well, there's only custom API call is the other option here. But we want to leave this as availability. Select the calendar you want to connect to. So this is really easy to do in Google Calendar. Just set up a calendar, and it's really easy to connect to. And then the start time here, we're going to click define by the model. So it's this button here you want to click. And this is going to be the start timestamp for the booking. So this is the start time of the service for the client. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever it may be. And this is the end time. Again, we want to leave this as defined by the model. And we're going to say the end time is going to vary depending on the booking and should be asked of the customer. So whether that's a haircut and beard, these are all different times and have different durations. Then that is pretty much your check availability tool set up. And we can go ahead and hit the create booking tool here. So same process to add a Google Calendar tool. And these parts are the same. You'd have already connected your Google Calendar, but now the resource is going to be event now. And the operation we want to select is create. Again, select the same calendar. And for the start time, we're going to let the model define this. We're going to hit this button here, which would be over here. Well, obviously I've already clicked it, so it's not there. And then we're going to put a description, which is just the start time for the appointment. And we should assume this is in Greenwich Mean Time. So obviously adjust this to whether system or place that you are creating this for. Then the end time, we're just going to let the AI define that. And again, this is the end time for the appointment. Again, also in GMT. And we've left default reminders on. It's not too big of a deal. You can turn that on, turn that off. And then the part here, which we've added summary. This is to put into the booking when it's created who it is and what service it's actually for. So if you saw before in the start of the video, when I was showing the example, it created it for my name and the service I was getting. So in the description here, we just describe how we want it to be. So the appointment type, so haircut and beard, and the client name, and we describe what these things are to the model. And once you've added that part in, that is pretty much both of your main tools completed. So go ahead and hit off there. And we want to add a respond to webhook node in now after our AI agent. So this is why we selected respond to webhook node here, and we're going to add the node, which is the respond to webhook node after the AI agent. So it's really simple. You just type in respond to webhook and you can add that in there. So helping in the respond to webhook node, for most applications, you'd be fine to just leave it as with the first incoming item. But like I said, VAPI has quite a weird format that you need to respond to data in, and it's that JSON format. So we're going to make sure this is put to JSON, and we're going to create the body here, which is the information we're going to be sending back to VAPI. So this is the same format that I copied from the documentation. You can go ahead and find that format in the documentation and just copy it over to here. So you want to replace where it says tool call ID, and this is going to be the ID that we get from VAPI. Now you want to go ahead and copy the format that we had from VAPI over into body here in our response webhook node. And where it says tool call ID and the result, these are things that we're going to want to replace with our own things. So for the tool call ID from your webhook, once you've executed it, or you can just type this message in and it will work once you've run it. We want to copy the tool call ID, which is over here. So you want to drag and drop that into this part here. And for the result, this is going to be the output that we're going to get from our AI agent. So this will just get drag and dropped over into there. Now, this is really important that this comes out as text and not as JSON. Otherwise, it's going to mess the format up and the information isn't going to get sent back to VAPI correctly. So that's why we put that last little bit in the prompt into NAN to make sure that the format comes out correctly. Now, once you've drag and dropped those over, we've actually pretty much completed both our workflows in VAPI and NAN. So go ahead and hit the save button here and you'll be good to go and test this out. So once you've got it working correctly, we're going to want to adjust the webhook URLs that we put into our tools before. So if you remember, we put the test URL in here, but we're going to want to put our production one here. So we're going to copy this and replace it with the one that we put in VAPI into our tools previously. So I'll just show you that quick. So if we head to VAPI and go to our tools section, this is the URL we put in before. So you can see this is still webhook test, but we just want to replace this with our production URL that we just copied over from NAN. And this is going to mean that we don't have to hit execute workflow every time, and the agent is going to work autonomously. And once you've replaced this URL, just go ahead and hit save. Remember to do this for all your different tools that you've got, and you should be good to go and actually get this running now. But that is pretty much the workflow done. We've created our NAN agent, we've created our VAPI agent, and now you want to go ahead and test it, make sure it all works, do any debugging that you need to do. But like I said, if you want the prompts from VAPI and you want the prompts from the NAN workflow here in the template, hit the like and subscribe button and then go ahead and fill out that Google form and I'll send it over to you so you can just copy and drop straight into your workflows. If you're a business owner and you think a workflow like this might be really useful for you, go to the link in the description, go to my website, fill out the form, and we can get started on building something like this for your business. But that's it for today. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button if you found it useful, and I'll be back soon with more tutorials just like this.